Check, check, mic check. Get right. Mic check, check. I heard the news. I don't know if I'm too loud. I heard the news. Lonnie, is Elon Musk about to run all social media? Let's see. I'm one of the main people who keep telling y'all this man is he's a genius. This ain't for me to ride. I'm not an Elon fanboy. I'm a fan of the moves. We just talked what was that, Friday, about catching a wave. This guy is always making waves. And if this is true, this is a perfect example of why you got to follow the money. The Don, Lonnie, they might be the tag team champs of the world right now. Let me start recording. Welcome to Wall Street is watching where we don't follow the news, we follow the politics. We don't follow the news. We don't follow the politics. We follow the money. But today we're following the news. And just in, we get news that Elon Musk is possibly buying TikTok, which would be crazy. And the headline reads, China considers selling TikTok U.S. operations to Musk. How does that even happen? Well, we already know Elon has a great relationship with China. It's between China and the U.S. Who's buying the most Teslas? He has factories in China. He plays nice with China. He knows Xi Jinping personally. Who else would China trust with one of their greatest assets? And I'm not a user of TikTok. I should use it more. I probably will use it more now that I'm trying to create more content if it survives. You know, the data thing scared me a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. But we deal with that with Instagram and Facebook. And when you learn a little bit more about how this data game works, everybody taking your data. I haven't really been on TikTok, but apparently I'm just missing out on the fun because why would I be worried about my data being taken if everybody's taking your data? Now, let's look at some of the this is like breaking news for me, so I'm just reading, we in this together. Now, based on some of the news from the article, this is a decision that the Chinese government is making. Now, the Chinese government operates a little bit differently with their private businesses. And when we say private businesses, we're going to say private businesses, not really private in China. China's government has their hands in the mix with all of their businesses. And I'm assuming based on this article. Let's read a little bit. The Chinese government is considering a plan that would have Elon Musk acquire TikTok's U.S. operations to keep the app from being effectively banned, Bloomberg says. So apparently next week, TikTok is supposed to be banned somewhere around inauguration. Now, if we remember going back, because a lot of us were trying to run this play in the market with options, lost a lot of money. We had Trump pushing to get TikTok removed from U.S. servers. He wanted an all-out ban. This was his original idea. He's the author of the TikTok ban movement. He was the first one to bring it up that they're monitoring U.S. citizens and we don't know what they're putting in our kids' heads and they're in control of this and that. And he started that propaganda train of getting rid of TikTok. But now it's a totally different story. According to this article, he's completely flip-flopped on the idea of a TikTok ban. Let's continue to read. The contingency plan is one of several options China is exploring as the U.S. Supreme Court determines whether to uphold the law that calls for China-based ByteDance to divest TikTok's U.S. business by January 19th, the report said, citing anonymous sources. January 19th, I think the inauguration day is the 20th, so this would be the day before. After the deadline, third-party internet service providers would be penalized for supporting TikTok's operations in the country. So if anybody's using TikTok, you know, these major service providers, Verizon and you name AT&T, blah, 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 they'll all get penalized. So they're all going to effectively remove it. You won't even be able to access TikTok from your device at all if this goes through. Under the plan, Musk would oversee X, which he currently owns, and TikTok's U.S. business, Bloomberg says. However, Chinese government officials have yet to decide whether it would proceed. The report said, noting that the plan is still in preliminary. So, I mean, they're really just throwing ideas at the wall. Musk owning TikTok, along with X, would essentially make him the most powerful man in media before he releases the robots. Before he releases the robots, before he can control every car that'll be autonomous, he will now be the hands down king of media. We've already seen Mark Zuckerberg kiss the ring on Joe Rogan. He wants parts. He wants parts in a way that he's making Facebook a lot like X, which is crazy. It's disgusting. He's made a complete U-turn, but the dawn is coming and you must kiss the ring. Understandable. You wanna stay in business, so I understand that. So now he's moving behind Elon and following in his footsteps. But it might be too late, because if he gets TikTok and you have that X TikTok combo, you're running the game. That's new news media. That's the biggest social media tapping into the youth. He will have it completely sold up. It's unclear whether ByteDance knows about the Chinese government plans and TikTok and Musk's involvement in the discussion. The report said senior Chinese officials are debating contingency plans involving TikTok's future in the U.S. as part of a larger discussion about working with the president-elect Donald Trump. So you've been hearing a lot more about China wanting to play ball with Trump a little bit more. I don't know if that includes playing fair with Taiwan. They've been very, very adamant about saying that Taiwan is a part of China, and at some point they will be back a part of China in totality. That's fighting words for sure. if you don't know about the chip situation and the chip cold war that's going on between the U.S. and China, it's the biggest news. It's bigger than Israel and Palestine. It's bigger than Russia and Ukraine. Whoever dominates Taiwan and the chip industry essentially controls the world, the modern world for sure. A TikTok spokesperson said in an email to CNBC, "We can't be expected to comment on pure faction." So that's funny because you can say that, Mr. TikTok spokesperson, that this is pure faction. And normally, like if this was in the US, that would mean something. However, in China, whatever the government says goes. So is it pure faction? Boss man? TikTok spokesperson? Is it pure faction? It's the truth if they say it's the truth. So you can almost kind of disregard that unless, they move to do something different. Of course, then it would be fiction. But if that's something they want to do, it's going to happen. Ain't nothing you can do. Last week, the Supreme Court held oral arguments about the law's potential banning TikTok, which President Joe Biden has signed. So Biden is the one really moving forward on this. He picked up that slack, I guess, behind Trump. But Trump changed his mind. He's for it. When you scroll the article a little bit more, you see that, here it is right here. Trump's rhetoric on TikTok began to turn after he met in February with billionaire Jeff Yazd, a Republican mega donor and a major investor in ByteDance, who also owns a stake in the owner, who also owns a stake in the, I guess that's supposed to be ownership of Truth Social. Truth Social, that's Trump's platform. I don't know if any of y'all ever been on there. I've never been on there. Not looking forward to going on there, but this is one of his partners. And again, I said it last week. Trump is a businessman first, president second. He has business partners. He has obligations to fulfill. His homie, his team is he moves like the mafia. That's why I don't mind calling him the Don. We got to figure out what Elon's rank is in the mafia, but he's definitely a top hitter in the mafia. His ties with China. And Elon is like, the reason why we call him smart, it's not because of the rockets. It's not because of the robots. He's probably not even the one making this stuff. It's his ideas, but he's not making it. It's because his understanding of economics and how the world works, how trade works. But you can also tell he's a very, very great student of history, because a lot of this stuff has played out years and years before. When you look at the old, like back in the day, like 100 years ago, Henry Ford was just like Elon. He was the Elon of the day. Once he came up with the Ford Motor Company, bro was just making boss moves. And then when you also look at, the J.P. Morgans and all these different people, they bought newspapers. They bought media. When TV came out, a lot of billionaires, they own these news outlets and different forms of media because they want to be able to control the narrative as much as possible. Again, I just read the Peebles Principle, and he talked a lot about being able to hop out in front of media and control the narrative in certain situations. So that's like being a tycoon 101. You got to have some kind of ties to a news outlet. Zuckerberg has Facebook and Instagram. That's his outlet. You got X as one of the biggest news outlets now with Elon. Jeff Bezos, what is it? He owns the Washington Post. Like, all these guys have their hands in some kind of media. So that's important as far as, controlling what your messaging is. And you see, he's on here every day tweeting. You can't call it tweeting, Xing, posting, whatever. He's on it doing it every day just as much as us. Controlling the narrative. Hanging in the crowd. He's like, I'm just like one of y'all. It's me, Elon. I'm your homie. Buy more Teslas. Buy more Cybertrucks. I'm your boy. But it's smart the way he's positioning himself. And he's, I don't know what side of Twitter. I used to be solely on the black side of Twitter. Somehow, I don't know if it's for everybody, but now I'm in the mixed side. But these people are like diehard Elon fans, and they're riding for bro. And that's very, very important in this day and age. So TikTok would strengthen that. TikTok would only make Elon Musk even bigger. And, people try to question his business skills. Man, he is playing 4D chess when it comes to economics. I haven't even talked about this yet, but I peep game. But I'll bring it up a little bit now. When Elon ran into that situation when Hertz was like, we don't want to carry all these Teslas no more. We want to get rid of the Teslas. We want to sell them. They were like, oh no, that the resale value on Teslas is going to go down. Tesla is ruined. This sucks for Tesla. 4D chess. Hertz releases thousands of Teslas into the market, right? What do you think happened to the other EV automakers? If Tesla is cheaper and they can't bust the same move and they're selling their EVs at full retail, but you can go get a Tesla for 30, 40% off, what you thought happened to them? How many EV automakers shut down their business? What happened to the Apple car? There is no Apple car. So a lot of times, you look at his enemy saying, oh yeah, the value is down. The value went down, but it ruined everybody. He has the highest net margin on any EV, meaning for the people who may not understand, after all the bills, after all the operating expenses, when it comes to EVs, Elon makes the most money hands down. One of the only profitable EV companies, only EV companies in China can't compete with him, and we don't allow them to be sold over here. So he has America sold up. But he effectively killed off all his competition. But these are the moves he is making. How's he making all his money? He's frontline on every major innovation. We need to increase communication. Satellites. He got satellites. He's bypassed some of what we're doing with fiber and went straight to satellites. And the future is fiber, for sure. But the satellite communication game sold up. Space. That's money the government is just getting him to say, hey, go play ball. The tunnel thing. Logistics with the autonomous trucks. I got to understand, man. Like, I'm not in the game to be picking favorites. Last time I looked up to anybody, I was Jay-Z. I'm 36 now. I don't look up to nobody but God. That's it. But I can say I am impressed. If he's able to pull this off, this would be major. Trump has flipped and he's on board with having something to do with TikTok in the U.S. He's been convinced. I hope that changes things with the data being stolen, or maybe hopefully that's the main play. But if China isn't tapping into the data, Elon is. He'll be tapping into the data. You look at the bottom of your screen and you see Gronk and you see AI and all that. They want you to keep feeding the machine. All the data from all our tweets, that's like feeding it little pieces of human thoughts and intuition and all it's learning from us. So when these robots go online, It won't be all tweets, but we would all have contributed to how the AI has been developed. So that data is gold. I always like tying into how can this work for you on a lower level. For sure, it's investing in companies that know how to work with data, or companies that are part of the infrastructure of data. But if you're young and you watching this, learn how to play with data. Be a data analyst, a data scientist. Work at a data center. Be a data technician. It's not a game when they say data is the new oil. It is the most important thing. Like, this is how we're gonna feed the AIs. This is how they do all this. Sometimes I do feel like the internet is reading your mind when you think about something or you talk about something and then it pops up. A lot of times it could be just these phones are listening to us, or somebody searches something and your phone comes in proximity, and then it does a little thing like that. But that's all data. I still think it's reading our mind a little bit, but that's mostly the data that we're playing with. So with these platforms like TikTok and X, you want to be able to push out a message, and you also kind of want to hear what everybody's talking about. This would be big. We'll see how the stock reacts in the morning. Twitter is already up like $9 overnight. We'll see if that holds. Next week is going to be very, very interesting. I see XRP moving up a little bit for y'all holding XRP. I just saw that most of the major crypto companies have donated a little something. All different forms of kissing the ring. My suggestion to you is, whatever you've been saving, save a little bit more. We're not parking cash on the side. The worst you can do with your cash right now is put it somewhere where you're getting 5% return on it. High yield savings. But right now you should be putting that money to work. Saving won't get the job done right now. This is a chance. I want to say for sure these next 5 years, but these next 2 years would be very critical in changing the path and which you are going. And your path is going to change. It's either going to be good or bad. So you pick. You decide. You want to get in the game. You want to be with the ballers. You want to let the ballers through. You need to start learning about where to put your money. The future of like California, like, what's going to happen with that? A whole bunch of homes, thousands of homes completely wiped out. That's not even the same place. If you've ever been to California, or if you live there now, it won't even be the same. What happens? The world is changing. So just make sure you're on the right side of right. And like I always say, we don't follow the politics. We don't follow the news. We follow the money. That's just a little update for tonight. I'll get with y'all. I like this form of just being able to tap in. As soon as we see the news, we finna start tapping in. So good night, and I'll catch y'all later this week.